Okay, welcome back. I've done a few things in the interim, so they're not that hard, and so that's obviously the handlebars have been installed. I installed the the brake lever assembly with the enricher. We're gonna hook that up in a minute. You saw me hook up the throttle, and we have to fix a little ball in there. I hooked up the clutch, and I actually ran the clutch line already, and so the clutch is installed, and it installs through here. It's connected to the clutch arm, and it works. So right now it's in gear. I hit the clutch and I can move the wheel. It's in gear. I can move the wheel. So clutch works fine. And I've installed one carb, and I've installed both manifolds. Here's the thing: the manifolds are not that hard to install. I mean, you put in 3 Allen bolts. So I'm going to install the other. Well, I'm going to finish installing this. I'm going to finish installing this carburetor. Then I'm going to install the other one. So first, this side right here is for get this straight. Okay, this on the splitter, this side is for the throttle, the other side is for the enricher. So I'm going to start by installing a boot. You really want to make sure you put a boot on there. The boot keeps it from popping out, and I'll show you why in a second. So you install the boot, you feed the wire through the top of the cap, and you'll see that the spring connects to the top. The cable does not go through the spring, but you hook the spring into the top of the slide, and let me go back and do this. This is how I normally do it anyway. So you install that. This gets installed like that, so the long part of the slide follows where the cable is. It just makes sense because the cable is just going to go straight down. The back of the slide, the long part, goes toward the intake. So you tighten it down, and right now it really has its kind of, I don't even want to say it has its base settings, because here's the idle adjustment screw. It's not even adjusted. This old tractor has a great methodology for setting the height of the carburetor slide. It's basically you use a drill bit, and it will do that. And it's from Charlie. He did it, Charlie Mullendorn. So it is, like I said, he provides so much. So let's go to the other side, and we will install that slide. We'll install that carburetor. Here we go on this carburetor. And there is a right and a left side. And it is the left side has it so that you can actually adjust it. I really kind of put these things vertical. Okay, so I'm just going to tighten this up on here. And so normally the first thing well, let me loosen this guy up. The first thing I normally do is I'll install the choke, the enricher. It's a choke, but technically I think it's called the enricher. And there's a breather box that goes here that we have to install. It's really not a problem doing it after I put the carbs on, but that'll be like the next thing I do. So the enricher goes in, and again, make sure you get the correct length, because you want this enricher, you want that plunger to sit at the bottom to block it off. So I need to make sure that this seats totally. And it does. That is the enricher. Next is we're going to install the throttle. Cable. So here is the first. I'm going to put the boot on. Let me get this light out first. So cable goes through. It connects in the top of the slide. Connects in the top of the slide. The spring goes on the top, and the large part of the slide goes toward the intake. And the BMWs I used to have had slides like this, and it was just so hard to get the cable in. These ones, it's super easy. These ones are so well designed. Everything on this bike is so well designed. Basically, it's a car. And that's really what it is. It's just a car motor with a car transmission. You don't want to over torque these, but you really want to get them so they're right. Okay, so that looks good. So let's go around. We're going to hook up the enricher cable. So here is the enricher lever. And it hooks up into that is it. So it is hooked up. The enrichers are open. Gosh, this thing came out. And they're shut. That is totally embarrassing. Okay, so there is an adjustment nut out here. Open. Wow. These cables are binding up on me. Let's try it again. Oh, shit. Okay. I lost it. There's like a little peg under here. I've got to cinch it up again. Just like that. I didn't get it. Well, unfortunately, it's like the slide is not sliding in there. So I'm gonna have to investigate that. Now it is. Let me see if it's actually working. I'm going to take out one of the enrichers and we're gonna see if it actually goes up and down. That screwdriver's not working. So let's take out this enricher. Oh, here's my screwdriver right here. Okay, I'm still taking out the enricher, so stand by. I want to see if it's moving. Okay, so the cable is not good. The cable is sticking. I gotta get some. This cable, there's a spring on here. This thing should retract very easily. And it's not retracting. So I need to get a couple more cables. I have one, I think. I'm going to measure this one, but I ain't going to change these cables. It has to work. It has to be seamless. It has to basically be very fluid. And if it's not, you got to fix it. It's got to be right. So but let's take a quick look at the throttle. So the throttle is gotta get them all out. Okay, so we hook it up. The ball bearing gets put in there, and I just squeeze it a little bit with a pair of pliers to keep it in. Okay. Oh my God, I can't believe it came out. Okay. I do not want it to come out. Yeah, it's normally easier than this. But the moment the camera goes on, everything takes twice as long. It is in. There's tension on it, so it should not come out. I also slightly crimped it. Here's the throttle. And it is opening up both slides. So throttle, enricher cable. I'm going to change the enricher cables, but that is where we are at. So you probably saw down below that I have the mufflers and the exhaust headers, and I am going to attempt to buff them out. So I don't know how it's going to turn out. We're going to give it a shot, and the pipes are original to the bike. I'm assuming they came with the bike, and they're very thick, and they look like they would come with the bike. So here's where we stand now. I've got to put those on. I've got to buff those out. I'll do that tomorrow. And I've got the coil is installed, and you can see over there I've taken out the wiring harness, and the voltage regulator is attached. The starter relay is as well. I've attached the starter relay. I'm probably not going to use that starter relay. I'm probably going to use a newer starter relay. I'm going to keep that there. So whoever has this bike after me, if they want to hook up that original one, they can. The generator's hooked up. I got to clean this bike up. So I'm going to clean this bike up tomorrow. I've got the starter switch that I've got to clean up and install. And so that gets installed right here. There is a Allen bolt that goes through there, and that's where that gets installed, just like that. And I've got to put the headlight bucket on, and we are actually going to start wiring tomorrow. And a seat came in. I've got another bike. I don't know if I'm going to use that seat for this one. I've got a seat for this one that I'm probably going to use. And I've got to get a plug for this, for the transmission. And I mean, literally, if we could probably have this thing started in about 20 minutes, really. So there's fluid in everything. I'm sorry, the rear drive, it doesn't. You're going to notice that rear drive is different. And here is the problem. I ran into this issue yesterday, and